So let me welcome you to the last part of the conference, which is a panel discussion on the themes of the conference. And as you saw, in the midst of a major financial crisis, today's conference was bound to reflect and is bound to reflect the contrast between market efficiency and market excesses, full rationality and so-called behavioral considerations, social optimality and private incentives, customer targeting and customer misdirection. And our four speakers this morning stressed not only what went wrong and how it can be avoided, but also what impressive new things can be done if the modern toolkits of finance theory are applied to the task of managing important risk for people, as opposed to simply securing bonuses. Yet here is the catch. The financial crisis itself and the conflicts of interest or downright lack of foresight that it revealed have inspired extensive ongoing debates on the best ways to tie practitioners' hands so that they do not follow the private interests that are not aligned with social interest, and on how to simplify products in order to avoid investor or borrower mistakes. These are very important considerations and concerns. However, it seems also clear that this cannot be all. If this were all we did, we would simply end up with lots of frustrated, smart practitioners with tied hands, thinking about how to untie them, and with plain vanilla products not able to deliver effective risk management like the products that Bob Schiller is advocating. Our symposium points to an important further direction for research and for policy design that I think has not been stressed that much so far: how to create a new financial market environment that fosters socially useful financial innovation while at the same time avoiding the excesses and mistakes of the past. It is not at all clear that the answer to this question involves a severely constrained financial industry, unable to experiment with new products, or an industry that is only allowed to offer stripped-down, simple products. Some of the risks people face cannot be managed so easily, as Bob Schiller has convincingly argued. It is much clearer that the private incentives for socially useful financial innovation need to be put in place. And an important one among them is the extent of the market, convincing people, basically, to use the products, the new products that are going to be invented and that are going to be useful for them. And if recent research in household finance is any indication, this is not going to be a straightforward task, and it's going to require a lot of financial education and a lot of financial guidance. As we continue to think about these questions in the second part of the symposium, the panel adds an important further dimension: differences in vantage points, those of the government and of regulators, of the monetary policy maker, of the international organization, of the academic and social sciences, and of the professional investor. We are delighted to have with us today an excellent panel. They are excellent not only because they are leaders in their current field of endeavor, but also because they have viewed the same issues from different vantage points in their previous incarnations. Or maybe they currently wear multiple hats, so they can fit in each other's shoes quite easily. Let me briefly present them to you. Otmar Issing is president of the Center for Financial Studies, honorary professor of Goethe University, and chairman of the advisory board of the House of Finance. He is chairman of the group of experts advising the German government on the new financial architecture, member of the De La Rosière group of the European Union, and international advisor to Goldman Sachs. How many hats are these? Lots, huh? Already. He was a member of the executive board of the European Central Bank from June 1998 to May 2006. So here is also the central bank background. Professor Issing will talk about the role of government in bailouts and the idea of too big to fail. Next to him, Klaus Schmidt-Hebel is Professor of Economics at the Catholic University of Chile since May 2009, Associate Professor of Economics at the University of Chile, and an international consultant. He held the position of Chief Economist of the OECD and Director of the OECD Economics Department in Paris during 2008-2009. He has worked at the Central Bank of Chile and in the Research Department of the World Bank. He will be providing the viewpoint of international organizations in dealing with financial crisis. Frank Smets is Director General of the Directorate General Research of the European Central Bank. He is an honorary professor in the Duesenberg Chair at the Faculty of Economics and Business of the University of Groningen, a research fellow of the Center for Economic Policy Research, and a managing editor of the International Journal of Central Banking. He will be providing a monetary policy perspective to the issues. Susan Smith is a director of the Institute of Advanced Study at Durham University and will be mistress of Girton College, Cambridge, from October 2009 onwards. She's currently on the move between the two places. In the past, she held the chair of geography at the University of Edinburgh. Professor Smith is a fellow of the British Academy and an inaugural member of the Academy of Social Sciences. She has recently completed an ESSC professorial fellowship on the uneven integration of housing, mortgage, and financial markets, and is writing a book on this theme due to be published by Oxford University Press. She will provide an interdisciplinary perspective on managing housing risks. Finally, last but not least, Maria Vassallo is a global macro portfolio manager at SAC Capital Advisors in New York, where she joined in October 2008. Prior to that, she was head of quantitative strategies at Soros Fund Management in New York. Between 1995 and 2006, she was assistant and then associate professor of finance at the Graduate School of Business, Columbia University. She is the current president of the European Finance Association. She will provide a perspective on market efficiency and financial innovation based on her academic career and research interests and on her more recent experiences as a practitioner. So I would like to invite the very first member of the panel, Professor Issing, to the podium.
Michael, thank you. I must confess that sitting in the audience, I became increasingly nervous about the idea that I should be a member of the concluding group. But announcing a panel should dampen expectations. However, this is only true for the first speaker. It is, as we know now, more than 2 years that the world is confronted with a financial crisis of a dimension which it has not seen since 1929. This is common judgment. However, disagreements can be observed on questions like if this crisis is even more severe, if it is a crisis restricted to the financial sector or to the capitalistic market system as a whole. Interestingly enough, economics as a science has also suffered in a comparable way. The reputation of economists in general was undermined by the fact that they are blamed of not having warned of the situation. And especially, the efficient market theory is identified for having supported an unfounded belief in the advantages of the financial system and its robustness. When Queen Elizabeth a few months ago visited the London School of Economics, she was presented a number of equations and graphs, and she listened, and finally she said, it seemed that here are so many excellent economists, why didn't you see it coming? Robert Shiller saw the crisis coming. And his verdict on the efficient market hypothesis is just devastating. I quote, "The efficient market hypothesis is the most remarkable error in the history of economic theory. This is just another, the crisis is just another nail in its coffin." The fact that you can get the Nobel Prize Award and the Deutsche Bank Prize for especially opposite views of the situation is showing, how should we say, how our science is in flux. By the way, you can get the Deutsche Bank prize even for both views of the world. And I think this exciting symposium is an excellent example. Listening to the speakers, to Bob Merton, to Bob Schiller, to the others, shows, and I think to the public it's difficult sometimes to explain why this is a productive discussion and not just opposite views which cannot be reconciled. But I think we have also to deal with the public perception of what we as economists have to say. With respect to the financial market crisis, I would like to concentrate